could Lois's interview be the start of the movie, and that's how the movie is told? I think that might be the framing device of this movie.
I think it's a framing device.
And she's making a valid point, and you're not hearing her out, right?
Because it's him,
You're being jumpy, and it's like, you're Superman. Like, you have to kind of be a little more gentle with people. Like,
and I think that's the ignorant part, is he doesn't recognize that he's scaring a normal human person.
Welcome back to the Breakroom. The full Superman trailer is finally here, and we've got a lot to say about it. I'm Brandon Barrick. Joining me today, we got Jessica Clemons.
What?
We got John Costa.
I shaved my head to look more like Lex.
Oh, do you think he shaves his
Billionaires
head?
are...
Oh my gosh, you're screaming again.
This is a passionate subject. I'm already for it.
Billionaires have too hard of a time. We should go easy. Go easy on them.
Easy
okay?
on
They want to do their evil. They want to do their evil shit. Let them do it. Let them destroy our worlds and our countries.
I say put billionaires in glass boxes. Don't put Superman in the glass box.
I say make Lex Luthor black again.
I mean, are you talking about the animated series?
Yes.
Yeah.
Which is so fun. Coleman Domingo could have ate this role up too. Honestly, Norman Osborn and Lex Luthor, one and the same.
They're pretty much the same guy. Yeah, they're very similar. We're going to talk about the Superman trailer that dropped this morning. Our first full trailer for the Superman movie coming July 11th. The first trailer was technically a teaser, according to James Gunn, but this is our first full look at the film, and what a look it is. But before we get into all that, we want to remind you to check out nerdriot.shop, where you can find some excellent merch based on all the fandoms we cover here at New Rockstars. We've got Last of Us merch. We've got Thunderbolts merch. We got a little Superman merch.
Superman stuff in there. We're trying to come up with some new Superman
We're trying to get some new stuff. It's a great way to support the channel. Check it out, nerdriot.shop. We also want to promote right now. Okay, look at this little guy. It's a Funko Pop. I know some of you Funko freaks are out there. Well, it's in a lucite case.
I just don't understand why there's some scribbles on the front.
There's some scribbles on the front, and this wasn't a Dear John scribbled in lipstick, okay? This is the signature of Mr. John Bernthal Esquire, okay? And you know it's him because he draws this little skull thing. You can look it up online. I can't damage it, don't worry. It's in lucite. This is a signed Funko from John Bernthal. We got this Funko Pop here courtesy of our sponsor, Whatnot. They're sponsoring a giveaway of this item in 2 other Primo collectibles.
Yeah, where is the Sentry?
It's hidden away right now.
Oh.
One's like a Sentry comic, 9.6 rated in the box.
It looks dope.
It looks dope. And then the other thing is a Lego set of the Yavin 4 base that is pretty incredible. Hard to get. But so we're doing a giveaway for those items. For instructions on how to enter, you can check out either our Andor finale breakdown, which will be up on the channel today, or our trailer reaction video, also up on the New Rockstars channel later today. There's in the description, you'll find out how to enter that contest for the giveaway. Some good stuff for giveaway. Yeah,
look how cool this is.
Here's the Sentry comic.
I love the art on the front.
I mean, and now the value is skyrocketing.
Going up, baby.
Now, okay.
Going up.
9.6 rated in mint. Well, I don't know if it's mint, but it's 9.6, and it's in this plastic stuff.
Yeah, so our farts don't get in there.
CGC rated that stuff. So you can check it out. Check out the Andor series finale breakdown on the New Rockstars channel and the Superman trailer reaction. Details in the description there on how to enter that giveaway. And you better enter, or else John's going to steal these things.
Yep.
Okay, enough business. It's time to get into Superman. Okay, what did we think of the Superman trailer? Were you blown away? Did you believe a man could fly?
Never. Never in my life. No, it was great. I love this trailer. It was very fun. It's beautiful.
Yeah, a lot of things we've seen, right? Obviously, the Fortress of Solitude. I think what was interesting here, a little more of like his flying, which I thought was really cool. I love how the camera can't keep up with him, right? He's constantly too fast for the camera.
Do you think that they added these shots in because of the criticisms that they've gotten when people first saw the like POV cam or whatever, the snorri cam type shot?
Yeah, maybe. I mean, they were always going to be like flying shots in the trailer,
of
right?
course.
That's the big thing they want to show in this. But what really blows me away is like how bright and like daytime it all is. It's not Superman flying at night in the rain, right? It is broad daylight, like very intense shots that I think look really cool.
Weird question. Can you Google who the DP is for this?
The DP?
So the DP has worked on a bunch of projects with James Gunn in the past, and interestingly enough, we talked a little bit how some of the criticisms, I would say, of the cinematography. They're using like most of the time this very old vintage lens that is like a 23 millimeter or something like that. Maybe this is too boring. Mm-hmm. Play baseball for people, but it's like they shot most of this movie on one old ass lens. Mm-hmm. And you could tell a lot of the compositions of this movie are like really wide angle. They're like in people's faces a lot of the time. You could tell kind of that older shot when Superman was flying was like that, but the shot of him kind of being like the can getting thrown at his head is similarly close. Yeah. There's a shot of him breaking out of that little prison. It's a similar kind of like
almost like a little fisheye to it.
Yeah, you feel a little like that.
The director of photography is Henry Bram or Braham, Braham. Bram. I'll say Bram. Henry Bram. Who also he was a cinematographer on Guardians of the Galaxy Volumes 2 and 3. He worked on The Suicide Squad with James Gunn, of course.
And I do think that,
and he also worked on like The Flash. He worked on Roadhouse.
Hey, hell yeah.
But I do like the look of a lot of it. It is very cool. That sequence in the trailer when they're Lex and the engineer, they're busting into the Fortress of Solitude, and she's slicing through the Superman robots, right? That felt like that sequence in Guardians 3 when they're fighting in the hallway. There's a lot of that like camera kind of like moving to
there were a couple of shots in there, sorry Jess, that like almost looked like the camera was on one of those motion control robots that was moving with really specific accuracy.
Kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
What were you going to say, Jess?
I can't remember.
Oh, you're just blown away. It was beautiful, though. And what I do really like about this trailer and what James Gunn is trying to do with this movie is, like, this is a filled-in DCU, right?
Yeah.
This is not like,
a lot of characters.
Hey, Superman's our first hero, and now they're going to start popping up, right? There are so many characters that show up in
I think that's, like, the best part of going about this, too, is just not introducing them.
Right.
We're just going to jump into... That's why I think, going back to... how I think this does actually already show the story is we're not going to care about the stories to every other character. They already are introduced into this world and live their own lives. We're really focusing on this big circumstance of him intervening in a war which he shouldn't have been doing.
Yeah,
and I think that is like the main part for what was so important about Civil War. The same part with like the boys. It was like how far can a superhero intervene when they're respectively living in a certain country. And I think that's going to be like the whole plight of the movie is going to be him being like, oh, I'm an alien.
Well, and the nice thing about this sort of James Gunn DC Studios era is that like we've already gotten the Peacemaker Season 2 trailer where we're going to have Sean Gunn and Isabella Merced reprising their roles in Peacemaker. So it's almost okay that we don't spend so much time with them in this movie. They're there, but we're going to get more of their story in other projects.
Yeah. There'll be what are they? The Justice Gang? What is their team name? They're not the Justice... The team that is Mr. Fantastic, Guy Gardner, and Hawk Girl. That... What's his name?
Oh, Mr. Terrific. And that...
They're on a team that... Pedro Pascal.
Maxwell Lord?
Yeah, that Maxwell Lord
when they were
creates.
Interviewing...
Pedro Pascal. I'm so sorry that I had to bring up his worst role.
I know in the comics that when Maxwell Lord was like first introduced... He was kind of helping establish like the international like Justice League. I think like kind of like satellite Justice Leagues. And in the Peacemaker trailer, we got a good look at like both Guy Gardner and Hawk Girl's suits, and it has like a little JL on it. So I think they might just be like versions of the Justice League, right?
A Thunderbolts-esque renaming of a team that's just a bunch of losers.
Right. So
Hawk Girl's not a loser.
Sorry.
No, I think Hawk Girl...
Maxwell Lord is the loser that I'm referring to.
Yeah. I think Hawk Girl and like, Green Lantern, they're on the official Justice League, and maybe they're setting up like, hey, this is Justice League Kansas City. You know what I mean? This one's just for you guys. Keep that barbecue clean, you know what I mean? That's probably what's going on. I love the like all the tech with like Mr. Terrific, right?
Yeah,
like
Mr. Terrific's
floating
really
chair. Even just like the practical nature of the T on his face is great.
I think this feels, which I mean, it makes sense. He's putting a lot of money in this. I was like, this looks like an expensive movie because you have Mr. Terrific with all. I love when he does this and his little orbs come out behind him during the war. We also see Guy Gardner's hand immediately knock over a tank, and then we see
just like the backhanding, like Guy Gardner's attitude in this is great.
I was like, this is what I want to see.
Yeah.
I was like, I want to see just like an annoying boy man, Guy Gardner.
It's giving Captain Hammer from Mr. Horrible Sing Along Blog, right? Like, or Dr. Horrible Sing Along Blog.
I love him. I love him. I'm so excited for this bowl cut ass man. Like,
I know.
I'm so excited for his character.
We did get a super chat here from Digital Wizard 69 over on YouTube. The Clois.
What's funny about that?
Love it.
funny about that?
Digital Wizard man, 69.
Digital Wizard 69.
That's like Shadow Money. What Shadow Money Wizard gang? We love casting spells.
They're saying,
you come.
oh my gosh. They're saying,
What?
It's too early in the morning, John. They're saying the Clois energy is making me crazy. I love them. Already shipping
who?
Clois. Like
Oh, Lois.
Clark and
Oh,
Lois.
Clark and Lois.
Here's what I'll say.
What character
They're
is
also
that?
both so hot. You know, it's like when you put two hot people on screen together. It's
And
like,
Is that how he
hell
looks
yeah,
as
dude.
Clark Kent?
You want to hear me be
That's no nerd.
horrible? I love.
That's no nerd.
I remember me and my friend were like, we should have put money on it. We were when they showed the three women, the three men that were all auditioning. I was like, it's gonna go to Rachel Brosnan and David Portman. And when he chose them, we were like, we said it, we knew it, because they look like cousins.
What?
And I'm not over that.
What?
And I'm not over that.
They look like cousins.
In the edit today, I was like, oh, they look like they could be related.
Would you? Yeah, this is a good. You know, one of the other people rumored for the role or was auditioning for the role is Nicholas Hoult, who's obviously playing Lex Luthor in this movie. I think he looks great as Lex.
Yeah.
And I would not have probably put Nick
think
in the Superman role.
The guy that plays Metamorpho auditioned for Lex Luthor. And he
Oh, you
got
think
it.
so?
Really?
I think
Oh, you
so.
know so.
I think so. There was like an interview with him about it, and he was like, I wanted to be Lex Luthor.
Who doesn't?
Who does?
Who doesn't?
Genuinely?
That's a
Genuinely?
fun like hammy. You know, you
Yeah,
can kind
I'm
of chew
gonna
on your
play
scenery
Lex
kind of
Luthor.
role. And
That
look,
was-
I know.
oh.
People are out on Jesse Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
No, I love
thought
Jesse
in
Eisenberg.
terms of
I love Jesse Eisenberg.
the choices for villains in the Snyderverse Batman or Superman side of things, I liked him.
I liked
And he
him. I
was
liked him.
also that Lex Luthor was of the time, you know.
Yes,
it was a
tech bro.
Zuckerberg-esque version, and I kind of like the twist of like, oh, he's like a meek little dude. The gentleman playing Metamorpho is Anthony Kerrigan, who was NoHo Hank
famously
Barry.
bald.
Yeah. Of course he auditioned
Makes
for Lex
sense.
Luthor.
He
I do
auditioned
think,
for Lex Luthor.
Nicholas Hoult is kind of on this run right now. You know, he was like good guy, protagonist actor for a while. And ever since like The Great and The Menu,
started going down
he's
to
going on
villains,
to
yeah.
like the kind of like antagonist side, which is very funny. He's so fun in The Great
And The
as like
Favorite as well,
an
right?
asshole.
He's in The Favorite?
kind of character.
Isn't he kind of a dickhead?
Oh
in
yeah,
The
I think
Favorite?
he does. Well, everyone's a
With
dick in
Emma
The Favorite.
Stone? He's in
yeah,
The
yeah.
Favorite? Who's he in The Favorite?
He's one of
the Great-esque kind of
yeah,
character.
because that's the same director.
Because I watched all The Great, and he was perfectly horrible.
I mean, he's so good in that, and it's like it reminds me of like what Jude Law's doing now, where he's like, "No, I'll be the bad guy in movies." Like, it's very fun, and I think Nicholas Holt's gonna eat.
Yeah,
in this
I love
movie.
his American accent.
Yeah.
It's very fun for Lex Luthor. I also like that this movie is, I think James Gunn loves doing this. He likes making sure people recognize that these characters are like portraying their superheroes, if that makes sense. Like this version of Hawkgirl is the third version of Hawkgirl. It's like, it's
right.
just the name. So these characters can also be replaced. Not naturally like we're going to replace Isabella Merced, but if there were something to happen during the movie, there would be another Hawkgirl mantle. Like the mantle would still stay. And I think he's doing that with he's showing that with a bunch of the characters already in the trailer. I'm like, oh yeah, if Engineer goes, there's another Engineer.
Yeah,
This must be, and like, is that something you think he's learned from directing Marvel movies,
I
right?
hope.
To be like, oh
Honestly,
shit, sometimes you just gotta replace
that
an actor.
I think that, and also just having to take over the DC, like
Yeah.
the DC universe. He's probably like, okay, so many people got mad. I need to make it very clear that these are characters that are mantle names. It's not like I'm trying to even think like because even Spider-Man is a mantle name. He's not Peter Parker.
I mean,
Peter
Green
Parker,
Lan-
Miles, like
Green Lantern
Green
is
Lantern.
a mantle, right?
Yeah. And so that's why I'm like, oh yeah, he chose these really good specific characters. He didn't choose like the first Hawkgirl. He chose this one specifically.
Right.
I'm also just very excited for Isabella Merced, and so anytime she gets announced for a movie, I go in depth looking into it.
Let's
She's having
talk,
a good year.
Let's talk about all these characters, right? We had a comment here from Jason Venable saying, like, this trailer is giving me a concern I haven't had yet. Too many characters.
Yeah.
Other than that, this lifelong Marvel guy is more excited for this than Fantastic Four movie.
Wow.
That's hard to admit, and they just admitted it on the internet.
Here's the thing.
Bold move.
I think if half of these characters that we're worried about were not like quote unquote superheroes that we all are like, oh, they have a backstory, they have a past, they have a history. That concern would be gone if they were just like regular people.
That's true.
Movies need characters, right? And I do understand how this could feel concerning. You want to know everything about all these people. I think we'll get there.
Yeah.
And this is just going to be a introduction to those people and not their full story.
I agree. I think you can't have a superhero planet without showing the other superheroes that exist. If it was just Superman and like Engineer and Mr. Terrific, I'd be like, this doesn't feel like the Superman universe that I know. So I feel like they have to show like, hey, when Superman's in prison, who's going to fight the kaiju? Oh, there's a million other people behind him.
And I do think James Gunn, have really handled the Guardians of the Galaxy well, which is like introducing a bunch of characters, making us care about them, as well as the people they have to deal with, right?
And the Suicide Squad. Half of those characters were new as well, right?
Well, I think this was the problem he probably had with Marvel is the fact that it's a shared universe in which you can't share them in every movie, only until it's an Avenger movie. So I think he was like, if I'm in space going to this planet, I should run into this guy at one point. And they were like, no, you can't put him in there. And so now that he's running like DC, he's like, no, if I'm going to Metropolis, I'm going to make sure everyone's there.
And I kind of respect the acknowledging of the audience's intelligence, right?
Yeah.
We are over 20 years into a heavily dominated cinematic landscape of superhero stories, right? Audiences are used to superhero stories at this point. It's not like you have to explain the idea of like, well, there's an individual who through some means got powered up and here they go. Like, we all get it now. They're finally not afraid to do Spider-Man movies that don't start with origins, right? They're going to do this Fantastic Four movie that will have origin elements in it, but they're kind of just like in the middle.
We know their powers.
Yeah. I think James Gunn is like, people are smart enough. Superman's been around for almost 100 years now. Like, let's just jump into it.
It's actually
and this idea of a story of a world that is populated with powered individuals, so much so that there is a government way of dealing with it. But now you have Superman, who's like, I don't want to live by these rules. I don't have to live by these rules. I want to just do what's right and help people. I think it'll be interesting. One of our sponsors today is Mando. Spring is in the air, the weather's heating up, and that means we're all remembering exactly what we smell like when it's hot outside. If you don't want a bubble of body odor announcing your presence, try sticking it to your stink with Mando. Mando's whole body deodorant comes in 3 forms: invisible spray, solid stick, and invisible cream. It's clinically proven 72-hour odor control, so it's perfect for long Saturdays at the beach, Sundays at the park, and Monday mornings when you just want to smell good. Mando stops odor before it starts, and it's safe to use on your entire body, pits, package, feet, and everywhere in between. Mando comes in 4 cologne quality scents. They got Bourbon Leather, Mount Fuji, Pro Sport, and Clover Woods. I really like the Bourbon Leather, but on a night out, I like a little Mount Fuji. It just smells fresh. It smells good. I feel like I'm exploring Japan. Mando's starter pack is perfect for new customers. It comes with solid stick deodorant, cream tube deodorant, and 2 free products of your choice. You can get the mini body wash or the deodorant wipes. I highly recommend the deodorant wipes for on the go. It just freshens you up real quick. But with that deal, you also get free shipping. As a special offer for new listeners, new customers get $5 off a starter pack with our exclusive code. That equates to over 40% off your starter pack. Use code BREAKROOM at shopmando.com, shopmando.com. Please support our show and tell them we sent you. Smell fresher, stay drier, and boost your confidence from head to toe with Mando.
You know what? I think it's interesting because the trend is not like no origins anymore. It's it's that element is part of it. The trend is like year 2, right? Spider-Man Homecoming was like that. The Batman was like that. This movie is like that. Fantastic Four seems like that. And so it's cool to like, we can skip the origin in the first like 40 minutes of these fucking movies where it's like, I just want to see them do cool stuff. You can skip through all of that, but still have them be fresh and young and maybe facing their first like real test. This movie feels like Superman is facing his first real test of like, you did something and now there's consequences. Rather than, I don't know what we'll see out of this version of Superman, but like rather than the small scale stuff of I saved this, school bus of children from a flood or whatever, we get to the actual consequences of the world, which I think is interesting.
Yeah, it does seem like this is like a very evergreen baby Superman still, because I'm only taking this from like the way he reacts to his father and Martha, and how they react to him, and also how he doesn't.
How do you know
see
that name?
He's making a reference to Batman.
Oh, I thought you were saying it like I'm a girl and I don't know nerd stuff.
Yeah.
I was
John,
like,
how could
I was
you?
like,
John, how
damn.
could you gatekeep?
Sorry, Jess.
No gatekeeping on the
I'm
break
triggered.
room.
I was like, you know what?
Hey,
You're right.
fuck
I
you.
don't know. I don't know what I'm saying. You're right. I think I just made him up.
John, that's not.
Martha and John. Sorry.
John, that's not very brat of you.
Ooh,
Sorry, Jess.
ooh, that ain't proud of you. He got you. Sorry. Okay. Wait. No, you guys make me forget what I said.
I know. I'm sorry.
No, the family dynamic.
Oh yeah.
Of,
Well,
like,
the way that they're shot, he's like so like brooding, but still like I'm kind of dumb and I don't know what I'm
yeah,
doing.
yeah.
And
He
it's-
is kind of like a dumb
yeah.
idiot.
And then even answering to Lois, I'm like, you're working at Daily Planet? Is
Yeah.
that what? Yeah, you're working at the Daily Planet. I mean, I assume he's much more proficient than I would be over here, but he's still not understanding what he did was wrong. He's like,
Right.
no, I saved a bunch of people. And she's like, but you didn't think about asking the president first and you live here. Like, you're an American.
Yeah.
Ugh.
People
Don't
see
give me
you this way.
stuff
Yeah, that was an interesting way to start the trailer. HBasso13 on Twitch kind of asking, like, could Lois's interview be the start of the movie? And that's how
I
the
would
movie is
love it.
told. I think that might be the framing device
I would
of this
love
Yes,
movie.
I think it's a framing device.
And kind of right away, too, how he's, like, interrupting Lois as she's talking. I was like, chill out, dude.
No,
Like, they
it's
must
his
be
body.
really friendly.
I understand, but
point-
it's also, it's like, she's making a valid point and you're not hearing her out, right?
'Cause it's
You're
him,
being
though.
jumpy, and it's like, it is him, but it's also like, you're Superman. Like, you have to kind of be a little more gentle with people. Like,
And I think that's the ignorant part is he doesn't recognize that he's scaring a normal
Yeah.
human person, and that's why I'm like, I'm not defending him, but I'm saying I'm like, oh, he just doesn't know. He doesn't know. He's a dumb idiot, which again, James Gunn is great at doing because he did this with Adam Warlock.
Right.
He made him a comical, funny idiot. I think he's gonna make Superman like,
yeah.
why don't you guys just help the other people? And
Yeah.
it's like, well,
he's like, I'm
it
just
doesn't work
saving
like
lives. I'm trying to stop a war that is starting here.
Baby.
And she's saying, well, that has like ripple effects,
So,
right?
what is Mr. Terrific? Sorry to change subject. What
Yes,
does
ma'am.
Mr. Terrific Guy Gardner have to do with that? Because they're on the battlefield at one point, just wiping away people.
Yeah, yeah.
Do you think they're also involved in the same war that
I think-
Superman was stopping?
I think they show up because Superman's there.
Oh,
And they probably have to show to be like, whoa, what's going on here? You know what I mean? Yeah, so it seems like we have like, because they're the character that was like that big juggernaut looking thing in the sky with the laser beam, that's the Hammer of Baravia, which is a new character kind of invented for the movie. Baravia is the country that's at war with Jarhanpur. That's like kind of the main conflict that we see there, that battle.
That must
was
be
the
the
little kid
inciting
raising the
incident.
Superman flag. Yeah,
That's the beginning.
yeah, that's the beginning of something. And I wouldn't be surprised if like Lex Luthor's behind whatever's going on.
Lex
there,
Luthor's
right?
encouraging this.
Yeah, yeah.
He wants
And so
Superman.
again, when we're talking about billionaires, you think that billionaires sometimes fund and seed wars?
Yeah, I believe
that's-
so. I believe they are
It's a big statement.
the dark entity
Don't most
behind
of our
it.
politicians already do that?
I mean,
So,
well, you might
that's
argue
what-
that the billionaires are leading the politicians.
Yeah, I see where you're going.
I see where you're going.
Now, how do I get involved?
You're just
If someone
cannon
gives me $1 billion,
Look,
I
I
promise
know-
I won't start a war. I promise.
hey.
But it will be interesting to see a Superman who's not in the Justice League kind of question like, "Yo, Justice League, what are you doing here? Like, you're not promoting justice at all. You're just kind of like doing what the government tells you to do, or
Which I think is like a bad faith argument, right? Like,
Mm-hmm.
if there's a war that's happening in another continent and the United States shows up, what are we doing there?
well, that's kind of the point that Lois is making,
Yeah.
right? Like, you represent the United States here, and maybe who knows how broad this movie will get with its themes. But one of the themes could just be like the whole idea of nationalism is crazy. Just because you're born in a certain place doesn't mean you have to like only care about the people in that place where you were born. Like, let's care about the world. Let's care about each other in a different way and tear down these artificial borders that we've created and be humanity and not just like people of different countries. Let's care about the world in general. How will we ever get to a place where we are just earthlings on Earth and we all care about each other equally, and it's not just like I'm an American, you're a Baravian.
Moravian. Are they sending him as retaliation to America for what?
Maybe, yeah, because he
Superman
showed up
has
and they're
done?
like, well, I guess America attacked us or America got involved in our conflict, so we're
I'm
going to get
also
involved in them.
surprised it took this long, which I will love to see how they justify that in the movie of
Yeah.
being like, oh, this is the first time he's done this? He hasn't tried to intervene before, or is it just that he was too busy in America defending things?
Well, it'd be interesting too if this movie establishes, more heroes from different countries.
Yeah.
Because a lot of DC comics, there are heroes from other places, but like a lot of them are in the U.S. Right? Same for Marvel comics. They introduce other ones, and often like heroes in other countries are considered villains. But like to those countries, those are the heroes. Right. So
Red
it's all
Guardian being a great Marvel example.
Yeah, of that, Red Guardian's an example of that. Some might argue Whiplash.
He was just trying to watch a race.
He's just trying.
He's just trying to
killed.
appreciate Monaco, everyone.
Yeah.
We got this interesting question from Antonio McNeil on YouTube, saying if Superman has a great outcome, I imagine
the movie,
if the movie is really good,
okay,
and with Peacemaker following, do you think that Marvel fans will start to be DC fans because Marvel is at a low point? Here's my opinion 100%. On that.
That's
Let's
a loaded.
Be fans
that's
of
a loaded
both,
question.
baby. Let's be. We can just have our cake and eat it too a little bit, right?
Yeah, this is the I love to make a wrestling analogy. As a wrestling fan, it's better when there are different. Kind of companies doing well at the same time. And you can appreciate both. You can like both. So yeah, I hope that DC is here to challenge Marvel to do better. I think Marvel has struggled a little in its most recent phases. Feels like it's on an upswing now. I feel like they got a good plan in place. But it will be interesting to see how Peacemaker reconciles with Superman, because there is a lot of crossover, as we saw in that Peacemaker trailer, seeing Hawkgirl and Guy Gardner show up.
Yeah. I will say that DC doesn't have the same restrictions that Marvel does, and that's what would make me swing to become a more DC fan than a Marvel fan. Those restrictions being they can put like anybody in it.
Well, and that's it.
And they can make any character anybody.
And this is also still like hypothetical, right? DC did try to go toe-to-toe with Marvel, and that didn't work. Right, and so we'll have to see if it works better this time.
Also, DC right now, no way but
it's
up.
It's all possibilities, right?
I'm saying, but there's no way but up. I think honestly, I'm like, no matter what happens with Superman, it's going up.
And when you're Gunn and Safran and you're casting for these roles in these movies, like, who's the biggest star in the Superman movie? Is it Brosnahan?
Oh, biggest name is what you're saying,
right?
Going into it.
Is it Holt? Is like there's no A-listers in this movie, right? And so that
I think Nicholas Holt had a pretty big year last year.
I think those little
100%, but like he's not opening movies.
He's
right?
not. Yeah.
But I think those little pieces of getting a little bit of every single person from different TV shows and series and movies are what's making people go. Like I think their entire list of B-list actors equal their Florence Pugh.
Yeah, and I don't say that as a criticism. I say that as like, is this so that like you can have David Cornsweet?
Yeah, you can have him for 10 movies.
Well, you could have him for 10 movies, but you could also have him show up in Peacemaker.
Yeah.
Whereas like if you have Robert Downey Jr. playing Iron Man, you can't put him in Ironheart. Okay, the character being dead, besides the point. But like he's so expensive that you can't like have them come into these TV shows. So maybe I wonder if there is a strategy a little bit from DC Studios of casting lesser names so that they can put them in more projects.
I think that makes sense.
That, and also because Marvel still will get big names. They just got to kill them immediately because they can't be. Once they get a huge name, I'm like, oh, they're gonna die. Yeah. As soon as you get a big name in Marvel, I go, oh, they're gonna die because they can't stay too long.
And it does feel like kind of phase one Marvel, right? Robert Downey Jr. when Iron Man came out, he's a huge name now, and he was a huge name, but his career was on the upswing right then. Obviously, like Chris Hemsworth, we did not know this.
Even like Henry Cavill, I guess, to defeat my own point
that was
here,
a big deal when
he wasn't a huge
No,
name.
he was not.
He had maybe done like Man from U.N.C.L.E. before that or something.
I think that came after. Man from U.N.C.L.E. came
I don't know.
after. Like there are fun Wayback Machine things on the internet where you can see the casting of Henry Cavill, and it was like the comments are all like, "This is awful. Who is this guy?" Blah blah blah. It's.
Yeah. And now they're like, I won't have him in
now they're like, oh, he's the huge actor.
Yeah.
So it's like, this is definitely a vehicle. There was a great article that kind of profiled Cornsweet. I think it was Time.
Time magazine did a very
and he talks about how big of a deal this is for him, and he's just like a guy from Philly. And
and honestly,
this is a huge star turn.
The last thing we saw him in was the movie with Maya Goth.
Someone who works at Rockstars went to like theater school with him.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe we'll have him on the show.
Who
David,
knows?
come on the show.
Yeah, come on the show,
he will,
David.
but nice if you would.
I mean, I was kind of joking that like the opening sequence, the interview of the two of them, it does feel like Cornsweet is acting. You know what I mean? He's going toe to toe with Brosnahan, who's got a lot of miles
been
under her
acting.
belt. Yeah,
Who's
been
been in
acting.
this.
And I think she feels very natural. And to me, he felt like a little performative, but it's also like he's being Clark Kent. And
Well,
he's doing a bit there where he's like, I'm Superman talking to you, but he's like in his Clark Kent persona. It was cute.
I also think that interview is going to be interesting
Yeah.
because you have this like these two people are coworkers.
And
They
we
clearly
think they're
get along
together
very
at
well.
that
Maybe
point.
they're together at that point. We don't really know.
She knows
And so
that he's Superman.
And so now you have like Lois trying to be a journalist and Clark kind of being like, it's us, you know, like we don't have to be so fucking serious about this whole thing, which is like a problem that I sometimes have at work when like, you know, I don't know. Is this worth sharing?
We do have an HR policy.
We have
here
like
at work.
when I'm talking to like an operations person at work, but we're also very friends.
Right.
We have to like check in with one another, be like, "Hey, is this like friends venting conversation, or is this like, you know, we need to be serious and fix something at work or whatever it is?"
Yeah.
And I think that they're having that problem right now, where like Lois is trying to take this very seriously, and Clark is like, "I'm letting you interview Superman. Like, can we just not take this so seriously?"
It will be interesting if they'll, you know, show how much of their backstory they'll show us. One thing I liked about the animated series, My Adventures with Superman, in the first season, like when Clark Kent tries to be like, I'm Superman, everyone's like, yeah, we know. Like both Lois and Jimmy are like, yeah, we're not stupid.
Well,
like,
and then
we were just waiting for you to tell us.
This Superman costume I saw, the poster came out yesterday, has like, the costume has like a big collar that kind of comes up to here, and people are like, how's he keeping that under like a
under
suit
a
and tie
shirt?
or whatever?
I mean, in theory, he just goes and he's changed, right?
Yeah, maybe he's got it in a duffel bag.
I wonder how fast they will establish he is in this movie. Because, like, often Superman can, like, almost like the Flash in a second be like, go and change and come back or whatever. But we've seen him flying, and it's not like we lose sight of him. He's not that fast, but it's also, is he trying to go that fast?
He'll always be able to break the sound barrier because it's cool as fuck to see that happen.
But if he's carrying someone, right, he obviously doesn't want to go
right.
too fast. There's that moment where he saves the woman who's about to get squished by the kaiju, and I love how he's like holding her in like a very interesting way, almost like the Flash would like hold people's head and lower back. So he's like,
sure
I don't want to shatter your spine because we're gonna go way too fast here. We also want to thank our sponsor today, Hims. If you've been feeling like your love life has been overshadowed by erectile dysfunction, Hims is here to help. With Hims, you'll be able to lift Mjolnir again in no time. Hims provides access to a range of doctor-trusted ED treatments like chewable tablets, Viagra, Cialis, and their generics for up to 95% less. No insurance is needed, and one low price covers everything from treatments to ongoing care. With hundreds of thousands of trusted subscribers, Hims can help you find the ED option that works for you. The process is 100% online, so there's no need for uncomfortable doctor's visits. You just fill out an intake form on their site, and a medical provider will determine the right treatment option. If prescribed, your medication ships directly to you for free. Start your free online visit today at hims.com/breakroom. That's HIMS.com/breakroom for your personalized ED treatment options. hims.com/breakroom. The featured products include compound products which are not approved nor verified for safety, effectiveness, or quality by the FDA. Prescription required. See website for details, restrictions, and important safety information. Prices vary based on product and subscription plan. Thank you, Hims. Let's talk more about Lex Luthor in this movie and the engineer and what they're getting up to, right? We see kind of Lex and the engineer. That's the character who turns her hands into saw blades. You were saying she has nanites in her blood or something like that?
Nanotech in her blood, so it makes her.
Same TV.
That's why she's able to go.
Yeah, it seems like I'm just like blown away what kind of time frame we're looking at this movie, because not only do they like bust into the Fortress of Solitude, right? They're chopping up Superman bots, but also it looks like Lex at some point gets those like glass boxes. I think those are Lex's boxes.
Yeah,
his toys.
Because we see his toys, my beautiful toys. We see the Lex bots, right? Those the people in the suits. I don't know if they're robots or if they're men in suits, but they got like the LexCorp logo on their chest. They're the ones kind of like forcing Superman into those boxes. So is this all take place over a week, or are we you think we're gonna see like multiple times where Lex has like caught Superman? Or I'm wondering how it all plays out here.
I just like the idea that Lex is like, he keeps slipping through my fingers.
Right.
So I'm gonna just go to his house, bust in, and take him away. I think it's probably 1 week. If
week?
he is the billionaire, What is it again?
It took so
It's
much of me to
been-
not do that same thing.
I'm an old man, so
You're
I
like,
make
I'm
bare naked
you're-
ladies.
You're
references.
twitching. Like, I need to say it's
It's
been.
been.
That's the easiest way to get a song stuck in your head.
I know.
I think it's probably going to be like I also think that it shows more how dramatic it is that all this stuff is happening so quickly within the span of a week. That would make sense why he's like not learning so quickly. He's just like, oh, I'm still stunned by what's happening, but I need to follow the law. Yeah, and also I like to see the idea that Lex Luthor is using all his money to just remind people that he's not one of us.
Yeah.
That he's a monster.
He's above us. There is that scene where, Superman's kind of being like led away in handcuffs, I guess. He's letting them lead him. And Rick Flag is there. The engineer is there, and then Ultraman is there. He's the gentleman in the kind of like black suit. It kind of looks like Black Noir to me.
And he just with a U on his chest.
Yeah, and he's someone who's like powered by kryptonite. Like he's kind of the opposite of Superman in that respect. He's very strong. He's the one like pushing Superman's head into the asphalt, and it breaks. I love that. It's like cracking the.
It looks
like
really
digging
good,
into
for
the asphalt.
sure,
It looks like putty because that's how
looks
strong
great.
Superman is, right? Why is the government working with Lex? Are they afraid of Superman 2? Is that going to be the story here?
Yeah.
We're going to get like an Amanda Waller, like we got to kill Superman. I'm going to work with Lex.
Well,
to
we
stop
know
Superman.
Rick Flag Senior's in it, right?
Right, yes.
So, and
He's a part of the government.
He's part of the government. I don't know to what degree, how much he's
Yeah,
invested in
they
this.
had that line where it's like where Lois is like the defense secretary,
Right.
and then they show Rick Flag.
Well, they do that twice. They also talk about the president, and they show
Yeah, and
Lex,
they show- yeah.
and it's like, is Lex a part of the government? And so then you have to ask the question of like, okay, Superman's detained. Maybe that's how Lex gets his hands on
maybe.
Superman.
It's
Is
like,
it Lex's prison?
oh, maybe he's built a prison.
Oh,
to
he's
house.
a private prison person.
Yeah, he's
That's
like-
He's a
great.
private prison
Yeah.
person.
He's a triple P.
Yeah, he's a triple P.
He's like, I will build a facility to house these like powered individuals. Because
Right.
it's much. This is the problem at Marvel, right? They need the raft to deal with like people. Yeah, Lex is probably like, give me some government contracts, and
You
I'll
know
find
what?
a way to like.
He can go to my prison.
Yeah. You know what?
And they're just beating the shit out of him.
You know what? I got Metamorpho in a box. I got another
A
box.
girl in a dress, metamorpho in a box.
Yeah, and those boxes, they don't look like they had toilets or anything. Like, she's just supposed
I don't
to
think
sit in
super
there.
people use the bathroom.
You don't think Superman?
Digital Wizard 69 is gonna come in and make sure all that
Digital
shit
Wizard
gets
69, you let
apparated
me know
away.
right now.
If you know, if you're in either chat, let us know. Does Superman defecate? Does he have normal?
Does the suit
bowel
take
movement?
it in like Iron Man's?
Does
or
he
does
absorb
it, like-
everything? Does all intake just get absorbed by him?
Man, speaking of another absolutely never coming back show, this
Whoa.
is why we need the big question.
Oh.
Big que- This
This
would
is why
have
we
been a
need the
big
big question.
Oh, well,
We already did
How
an
does he
Ant-Man poops
piss?
episode. How's he pissing?
How is he pissing?
powerfully.
Does he piss?
Powerfully.
Pissing confirmed.
Oh my gosh.
I love it.
Disgusting.
I love I do think I want to know how much Rick Flag does mean to this because
Yeah.
didn't he say I don't know to what extent Creature Commandos is canon,
I think it's
Creature
canon.
Commandos
completely
is
canon, right?
considered canon.
and James Gunn's gonna put a little piece about it in there.
Yeah.
He's gonna put it into Superman, so that's why I'm like I don't know how important Rick Flag's gonna be to it because if Rick Flag is important to it, then maybe we'll see Amanda Waller.
yeah, I would imagine we'll see Amanda Waller.
Regardless,
in this film.
but to what extent is it just gonna be as much as we see like Hot Girl flying around, or is
I
it gonna
think
be like she
A
actively?
post-credit scene where she's building a team.
Oh, again, it's still.
I think
who's
Rick
in
Flag.
Peacemaker?
I think Rick Flag is like the public-facing element of like Argus and all that, and Amanda Waller is like strictly behind the scenes. She's like, I don't want to be seen on camera and stuff. She makes Rick Flag go out there to deal with that. In the Peacemaker trailer, he's the director of Argus and that, and I don't think, considering that show comes out after this movie, I don't know if they'll try and like set that show before this movie, which I think would make things so confusing. I think in this
it's
film,
gotta be
he's
after.
probably still just the director of Argus.
Do you think he's the one that is sent out on the task to go arrest Superman?
Yeah, because Amanda Waller
And then
doesn't
he
wanna be
hires
out
the
there.
team that is. Then he's the one working in tandem with Lex Luthor because Lex Luthor is the one that's employing Engineer.
Yeah,
and in
I
that
think-
scene where he's arrested, it's Engineer and Ultraman taking him in.
I don't know if that's Rick Flag's decision or if like Waller set up this situation and now just Rick Flag is just doing the government's
That's
duty.
true.
'cause
I could
he's
see, and that's
he's a
I could
government
see-
man.
I could see Amanda Waller being like, "Yeah, I'm working with Lex."
Yeah.
I'm
She's
working
like,
with Lex.
She's like, we gotta have contingencies that deal with these powered individuals.
Okay.
Speaking of duty, the chat is having making a meal out of the
Okay.
poop talk.
Do they
Couple
have
people-
evidence?
Well, what Jackson Jack says maybe he has to poop in space.
He has to fly back up. That's easy for him.
I like this question from WVugrad00, which is, would a Superman fart knock over a building?
Oh, I mean,
do you have to watch
he
your
clenches
tooth?
his cheeks.
you gotta watch it too.
You gotta hold it.
I think.
What if you had too much coffee in the morning?
Yeah.
Maybe he's not one of those people that are like you guys that have weird stomachs when they do things.
I love that Jessica's accusing us of having weird stuff.
I don't have a weird stomach. Excuse me.
My stomach is normal.
My stomach is normal. I can eat Taco Bell, Wendy's, and Burger King in one day and be fine.
We did see a shot of
We're doing that next week on the break room.
of Pa Kent. We did see that shot of Pa Kent with like a young Clark. I assume a young Clark like running or whatever. And it's like, yeah, potty training at the Kent household must have been dangerous. Right?
Oh my god, it's like Hercules all over again. When he is a baby and he's just lifting houses and stuff, and the parents were like, "We don't know what to do. This is the form of his exercise."
We saw, of course, more Krypto in this trailer.
Oh yeah.
This is the best part of the movie.
We need an over-under
truly
of
the
how
best.
much Krypto is.
Driving in, I was like, John's gonna be so janked.
The only
janked on
Are you janked?
I don't know what that means.
Janked, my guy?
Here's my only problem with Krypto.
Okay.
He's full CGI,
Right.
Okay.
which I get why you're doing that, but that means we're not gonna have Krypto at a premiere. We're not gonna be able to see.
Well, he'll have-
we're not gonna have.
yeah.
We're not gonna have Warner Brothers doing a fun event where they invite new rock stars to go hang out with this dog.
You're not going to be able to
mad.
meet Krypto at Magic Mountain.
I'm upset.
I think I'm fine with this.
No.
The only dog I want to see is the one at the Academy Awards.
If
That did
Krypto
this.
farts,
Yeah, because
he built
Krypto
this
doesn't have as much self-control, right?
over a
We
building?
saw him, like, jumping on an injured Superman, like, way too aggressively.
His boobs are like nibblers from Futurama.
Yeah,
where it's
yeah.
just a stone, like
They're-
a rock that you can't
They're
pick up.
pure dark matter.
Yeah,
or
it's pure
whatever.
dark matter. Yeah.
I mean, I love the shot of, like, him, attacking the engineer as she's, like, coming
Yeah,
into
and
the
it actually
dog.
like hurt her. She was like,
Yeah.
excuse me?
Yeah, I worry about
If they kill
Krypto,
that dog, I'll lose my
No,
mind. James Gunn loves dogs,
Yeah.
and I also was like, he definitely was like, I'm gonna make the CGI just like I did Scooby Doo.
He put his previous dog has cameos in both the Guardians films and in the Suicide Squad.
and I think passed away, right?
Passed away, and Orzo, the dog that Krypto's based on, is a new rescue that he has. You can learn all about it on James's.
I'm sure. It's,
I almost said Instagram, but he's more of a Threads guy.
Well, and I mean, has anyone done CGI animals better than James Gunn at this point?
Ooh, that's a good question because like
Guardians
Rocket
3
is so
is, like,
impressive.
incredible.
Guardians 3 is very impressive.
Rocket is incredible.
I mean,
and all the animals.
Someone might have done CGI animal better.
And
we
we
just
don't know.
We just don't know. Ask the Corridor crew about it. There's some CGI.
I mean, you could-
Tiger and Life of Pi.
Yeah, you could. The Tiger in Life of Pi is incredible for the time. Obviously, the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park,
Right.
but those don't. I mean, they hold up, but they don't look as good as if they were made now.
Yeah. I do like the shot how the trailer ends with just like depressed Superman lying in his childhood bed with like
Very Cyril
Krypto on
Karn.
his yeah, very Cyril Karn, with Krypto like
is
lying on his
Krypto
chest.
staying with his parents while he's in Metropolis?
It seemed like he was in the I think he like stays in the Fortress of Solitude. I think he was only at that house because Superman had gone back there.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, it's a good point. Like, why does Krypto? Do we think we see Krypto hang out in Metropolis ever? Clark ever taking Krypto for
Well,
a
it's
walk?
that line where she's like, "You have a dog," because she has not even seen it. So I was like, "Oh, he's not in the city.
Oh,
he's
yeah.
definitely going between the fortress and."
Well, I think it's probably he can't keep him in the city because like the dog doesn't know.
Yeah.
Like,
Well, and luckily, Clark doesn't have to deal with congestion pricing
that's true.
in Metropolis, so he can commute from Kansas or wherever.
Very quick, very quick. Yeah, he maybe brought Krypto to the city once, and like Krypto pissed on a hydrant, but it sliced it in half, and there's water spraying up, and he's like,
"We ain't doing this.
"Gotta
right
get
now.
this dog
We're
out of
doing
the
this right
city."
now." There's other superhero. I'm so sorry, you guys. It's early and I always forget people's name. But there is that DC alien that has the alien cat superhero. That cat's
There's a whole
probably
Super
Metropolis.
Pets movie.
There's a whole Super Pets movie.
The Petiverse.
So there's pets there. There's pets
DC
there. that
Petiverse.
Slice hydrants in half.
the-
I forget what DC character that is, but I love that damn cat. I play as him in the video game. Okay, sorry. Good, continue. I can't remember that guy's name.
Jackson Jack sending in a comment talking about Lex Luthor, saying when we were talking about Jesse Eisenberg being the role, Eisenberg felt more like a throwback to the classic mad scientist Lex Luthor to me. And to see him mature into the bald businessman, like they hinted at, would have been cool, but I'm past it. There's
a
the
lot of
Snyderverse is done. We got to let it all go. There's things to love. There's things to not like.
There was a lot of cool things that felt like they were on the horizon, but the pain of having to get through some of the other stuff was like not worth it. I think
I'm excited to see what this new Vision looks like. I really think Nicholas Hoult will have a lot of fun as Lex Luthor. It does. I mean, to me, it kind of reminds me of like the old school original Lex, where it was just like when it was Gene Hackman, R.I.P. Kind of like being like a madman, being like, I'm gonna build a city on an island. You know what I mean? And then Kevin Spacey played him in Superman Returns. Someone
How do you know
I've
that
forgotten
name?
about.
Why are you watching that movie?
Why would you
still?
say that name? I like Superman Returns. I'm a defender of Superman Returns. Brandon Routh, I think, did a great job as Superman. It was a throwback to kind of the old school Superman. We weren't ready for it. You know what I mean? We weren't ready for it. Superman had a kid.
It's impressive that you watched all these movies, even though you were born in 2002.
You know, I'm a cinephile.
Yeah, I
That's
guess
what they
so.
say. Of the many files that I am, I'm definitely a cinephile.
What?
I'm also a bit of a Franco-phile.
Brian, let's clip that out and put that on social.
I'm a bit of a Franco-phile.
Dave Franco or Jane
No,
Franco?
this country of France.
Pervert.
Je m'appelle Brandon. Comment ça va?
Como se
Bien sûr.
That Duolingo is showing.
My Duolingo be showing. Hey, I just hit a 1,700 day streak.
Wow, Brandon, big AI fan.
I know. They've turned to AI and I'm going to have to ditch it, but my streak is so strong.
That's the only thing
17 days?
No,
1,700
1,700 days.
Dude,
That's too many days,
he's on
Brandon.
there.
That's get off your phone.
Do
Jesus
the math.
Christ.
Do the math. GSU
17
GSU Eagle
I was like,
asking
you
on.
can ditch it, dude.
Yeah,
I also
I
think
would've
that
left
AI
by
shit
that,
came
but-
out more than 17 days ago.
So you signed up for it.
He was like, oh, okay. Supermax or whatever the fuck it's called.
GSU Eagle asking on Twitch, who would win in a fight, Krypto or Cosmo? Flurkin versus.
Well, Cosmo's not a flirkin.
Wait, you're talking about the dog? Yeah,
Oh,
the dog.
sorry.
I got confused
thought-
by what you
I thought it
said.
said Goose. Sorry.
Krypto, what are you
Take
talking
it
about?
again.
Cosmo's
Krypto.
just a normal dog.
Krypto or yeah, but Cosmo has psychic.
That's
abilities,
it,
right.
but he'll get
Something.
tired out. He
will
can
get
get
tired out.
exhausted if it's too big, and if Krypto the
Krypto
dog
pisses
is
right
just
on Cosmo and slices him in half.
Yeah. Krypto just seems like the dog.
That's canon now.
Because
Yeah.
Cosmo's still kind of like a human dog.
Yeah.
Krypto wouldn't understand. It'd be
Krypto's
like,
What
got
is a
dog
human
brain.
dog?
it can talk.
Yeah.
It's more Scooby Doo a little bit, but more human. But Krypto wouldn't understand that and
Yeah.
accidentally kill him.
Yeah. Krypto would definitely kill Cosmo, I think.
I would be so mad too. The real question is who
Krypto
would
and
win
Cosmo
between
is Bubba versus Hank, which is a little bit of an inside joke.
the dogs in the office. I don't know why it took me a minute to think. I was like,
Bubba?
I was thinking Bubblegum Shrimp, and I was like, why would you put your dog against Bubblegum Shrimp?
Bubba, who
Bubba's
has
gonna
no
win.
legs or whatever from Forrest Gump.
No, Bubba would win. That's Dan, Lieutenant Dan.
Oh, my bad. I haven't seen Forrest Gump in a while.
Ashley in Battle on Twitch pointing out, like, I don't like big names in superhero movies because it takes you out of the movie. I want no names and roles.
Yeah, I mean, like, Superman is the one opening this movie. People are going not because
Right,
of
not
anyone
because
in
an
particular,
actor-
but because it's a fucking Superman movie.
I do agree. Like, sometimes when you get a big name actor in a role, it's hard to see past the actor, right?
Yeah.
You kind of like, I think Robert Downey Jr. did a great job because, again, he was kind of coming back on an upswing, and he kind of he likes being Tony Stark, and there's a lot of RDJ and Tony Stark, and there's a lot of Tony Stark and RDJ. And I think
RDJ, Tony
they work well together. And what will be most interesting is seeing how his turn is Doom, right? Like, will he have a different affectation? You know, if you watched any of like the Sympathizer, no, yeah,
Studio?
he played like 4 different roles in that. Very weird. Even if it has worked in Oppenheimer, you know, a very different character coming from the actor. So I think RDJ is a guy who can like do that. You can kind of get lost and not see the actor anymore, and he can really play the character. So I do like them using kind of newer actors to play these kind of big roles like Superman.
Well, and I think, you know, people have been talking about, this is not an original thought, but like, we don't have many movie stars in 2025 who are of that age, like, you know, in their mid-30s or whatever it is. And so that's part of it too. There's no, you think of movie stars, it's like people in their 50s and 60s at this point, right? There's not a ton of young movie stars. And of course, we're getting some, the Timothy Chalamets of this world, the Zendayas of this world, but like,
Sophie Thatcher.
sure. But you know, there's no one that you could cast in this role that is like box office gold, right?
To play him.
I don't think
To play Superman?
Yeah, right.
I mean, you could go for it, but it would be, I think that's the risk, right? Is that like, well, we got this big name actor, but they also have other projects they need to do, right? You know, I think
But who is that? Is it
Oh.
Is it Tom Holland, who's only a big name actor
No.
because he's Spider-Man?
I mean, there's a million white male actors of that age. If you want to
But
just
I'm
name
saying,
off,
like,
because I was like, there's
none of
Dave
them
Franco
are.
just came out with a
None of
movie.
them. Dave Franco is not like a fucking movie star. You know.
He hasn't. He hasn't really led a movie, right? Like, yeah, I see what you're trying to
Because
say, John.
Zac
It's like-
Efron's not a movie star either.
I don't think so.
But
I
he is a
don't.
movie
When we're
star?
talking about movie stars, I mean like
they only do
Tom
movies.
Cruise, Brad Pitt, like
But then we're just
Leonardo
like-
DiCaprio. Those are movie stars.
Because they've been here for 40 years.
Yeah.
Because there's
I don't
movie
know.
stars that have been here only 26.
I mean, I
Like,
think your point of like Timothy Chalamet, right? Someone who's done mostly movies. I don't know if he
Zendaya is a
showed up in
movie star,
TV
but she's
show.
also 27.
He's probably like the biggest name of like a younger generation. But yeah,
and not a Superman.
not.
right?
I wouldn't cast him as Superman, right? I think he's a great Paul Atreides.
Hell yeah. May thy knife chip and chip.
Averka TV.
I think they found a good
Could you
actor to
imagine
play this.
if
It'll be
it was
interesting to
Robert
see where we
Pattinson?
are in 10 years and if Corn Sweat is like a big name,
Almost
big time
like
movie
that
star
would be
doing
a
stuff
thing.
all over the place.
Yeah.
And he's got 4 Superman movies under his belt at that point.
When they eventually recast The Witcher again, he'll go into that role.
Throw a coin to your Witcher.
That wasn't him in The Witcher.
No. I thought we might see.
Oh,
And
okay,
then Liam
Superman.
Hemsworth.
Superman
Yeah.
have to go to The Witcher next. Understandable.
I thought we might get a little shot of Millie Alcock in this as Supergirl.
Uh-huh.
No, it has to be a surprise. I need that reveal to be a surprise.
Surprise,
For me.
yeah.
I like when it comes in. I'm like, they're gonna.
You
put
think
it
that'll
in,
be like a post-credit thing to tie the two movies
They're gonna
together?
put that. They're gonna show that a week before the movie comes out, and one of those.
Oh,
little,
like a teaser.
30-second spots.
Which
Yeah.
don't get me started with those teasers that come up the week of the movie
yeah.
that start dropping because we have to watch every single one. And I go, okay, well, now
We'll have to
it's all
see when tickets go on sale for this
Lost my
movie.
head,
If they don't have like a big like we've sold X number of tickets, if they're not breaking records on like pre-sales, they might start putting
Yeah.
out a lot of
Oh,
like
no,
snippets. They might
it's
get
gonna do
panicked.
well.
And
People
I'll
are
say
gonna
this:
see damn
my
movie.
one criticism with the Thunderbolts is not a criticism of the movie itself. It's that my job is to watch every
Yeah.
frame
Sure.
of every trailer. So I was like, "Oh, okay, wow, the movie's over. I saw everything that was already in the
Well,
trailers."
we run into that issue a lot here.
That's our fault.
But I think
That's our fault.
That's our fault.
the civvies out there, the Gen Pop, you know what I mean? They maybe catch 1 or 2 trailers here or there.
I genuinely do not.
I will never forget like being watching Multiverse of Madness with my wife and when Christine Palmer.
Yeah.
When Christine Palmer like turned around, my wife was like, "What?" I was like, "How did
that's
you not
fine.
see
Yeah.
in the 15 trailers and the snippets they put out?" And it's like, yeah, most people don't see everything.
I don't
And
watch them
Their
for-
their marketing blitz is so that
Yeah.
one thing catches you at one point. They don't expect you to see everything, but us freaks here, we see everything.
In 15 years, when the Earth has exploded and there's no more YouTube and
Mm-hmm.
Rockstars doesn't exist anymore, but there's still Marvel movies. I can't wait to just not watch any of the trailers and
That's why I was
go in
like,
blind.
I'm glad me and Eric talk about which projects we're doing our own things on, and
Right.
that's why I don't like for Thunderbolts. I didn't get. I was like, oh, thank God, I don't have to watch any of these last minute uploads of like clips because I don't want it to be spoiled for me.
Yeah.
that's the
Yeah,
plus
do you
side of
think
it.
we've seen anything in this trailer that is third act of this movie?
Oh,
You
that's
know
a
what?
good question.
You don't think you don't think he's gonna be breaking out at the end, right? You think he's gonna be breaking out in the middle?
I think in the middle. I think they get into the Fortress of Solitude in the middle. He gets arrested.
It seems like
I think all this stuff at the farm, him depressed on bed,
That's-
is like leading right into the third act.
Oh,
Whatever
I
the
was
third
thinking
act is.
Krypto having to like wake him up and bring him into the
Oh,
Fortress
yeah.
of Solitude might be third act. But then there's all the like
But I don't
stuff
think
that comes after
I don't think
that.
they're chopping Superbots after that.
Yeah, maybe not.
Or they are chopping Superbots
Well, I
after
could see
that.
him
But
technically losing, and that being like the end of the movie.
Oh.
So that's why I'm saying that could happen. It could be him being saved and being like, I have to steady myself for the next round.
Could also like the shot of like Lois and Clark floating in,
Oh, yeah.
and kissing or whatever. It could be a third act thing
like
or whatever.
yeah, we did it.
But
Just
maybe
at the
not
beginning.
We did it,
I bet
Lois.
there's gonna be a lot of smooching.
There's gonna be
of
so
smooching.
much.
It's gonna be
smooching.
Smooch City.
Between Lex and his girlfriend and these two,
Yeah.
Lois.
Well, that's Superman. I'm excited to see it. Again, it comes out July 11th. Who knows when tickets will go on sale, but I will probably be buying my ticket pretty early.
July 11th. July
9th internationally.
24. Which one? What's Fantastic Four?
That's,
26.
Yeah.
And then before all those is Jurassic World.
Jurassic World Rebirth is at the top of the month. It's gonna be a busy July, folks. Busy July. A reminder to check out both the Andor breakdown for the series finale and the Superman trailer reaction for information from our good friends at Whatnot on how to win some of the fun little prizes we have here. That's it for the Breakroom today. Be sure to subscribe to us right here on YouTube. Give us a follow on Twitch, where we do videos like this live. You can follow @BreakroomNR on all our social channels, Instagram, Twitter, Threads, X, Blue Sky, whatever else you can find out there. We'll catch you next time. Late skaters, goodbye.